Hmm?
Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Inside Lowell Daily Pulse, the Tuesday, August 26th edition of the Daily Pulse. I'm your host, Teddy Panos, coming here from the Well Point Studios here in beautiful, historic downtown Lowell. And in just a quick second, I'm going to take you to Geneva, beautiful, historic Geneva as well, because a delegation from the city of Lowell has been there for part of the United Nations Urban Economy Forum, Frontrunner City ceremony. We told you a little bit about it on yesterday's Daily Pulse. Hopefully you get to catch a little bit of it on Lowell Telemedia. Tomorrow, we're going to have Lowell Mayor Danny Rourke here in the Well Point Studios. Mayor Rourke, I understand, is flying back from Geneva today, but we're very fortunate today because at least one member, multiple members of the delegation are still in Geneva, and one of them is joining us right now on the Zoom line here on the Daily Pulse. Lowell City Councilor, District 2, City Councilor Corey Robinson. Councilor, thanks so much for taking a few minutes away from your very hectic schedule to be with us today.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you for setting up the Zoom link, and it's great to at least show the people back home some of what how beautiful the city is, and it's really a privilege to be able to come out here and do the people's work for the city and solidify this commitment from members of the global stage.
You mean it's not a junket, as some people have said?
I'll tell you one thing. With the 10 to 12 hours of travel we had just to get here and the 6-hour time difference ahead of time and all of that, I wish we had the energy and the time to explore the city. I mean, we're fortunate the way Geneva's set up. Our hotel is probably a 3 to 4 minute walk to a beautiful lake that splits pretty much the city of Geneva in half. And we just wrapped up for the day finally. It's been 80, 85 degrees plus temperature-wise here, and walking around the city in a suit and tie is definitely work. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I'm glad you've ditched the suit and tie. Just so folks know, we're recording this. It's 10:22 a.m. our time, but you're 6 hours ahead. So you've already had a full day of things going on. I saw yesterday, what were you guys, like 10 hours in that boardroom or so, give and take?
Yeah, give or take. And I mean, mind you, that there's no AC. It was 85 degrees in that room. And the funny part was, while we're sitting there in the middle of the conference, having these conversations and doing the business, the windows are open and it's overlooking a lake, and off in the distance you can see a snow-capped mountain, Mont Blanc. Oh, talk about a tease. You're sweating at 85 degrees with a suit on, and you're seeing in the distance snow.
No kidding. Talk for actually, you know what, before we do that, you were showing me right before I hit the record button, you were showing me a little bit about what you mean, this gorgeous lake and fountain that kind of is right in the middle of the city of Geneva. If you don't mind switching your camera around and show us a little bit of the sights out there.
Yeah, sure. Let me see.
And describe for our audience what they're seeing.
So basically, this lake here is right in the middle of Geneva, the water fountain, as you can see there.
Very nice.
And this is, I mean, there's no Hampton Beach, there's no Seabrook, Salisbury. This is where the people come on hot days to cool off. And it's beautiful. So on this side, over here, this part of the city, it's kind of like, you know, how Centerville is split with downtown.
Uh-huh.
Here's the other side of the city.
Okay.
And that's the side we're staying on. So let me switch the camera back. And so that's where, you know, they have different activities. From a little we've been able to see of the lake so far, they actually have like a zip line system set up for the locals to use.
Oh, get out.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, and it's well attended. There's changing rooms. They have cafeteria set up for good food. I mean, it's every detail's well thought out, I'd say, and this lake is spotlessly clean. I don't know if it's fed by the mountain runoff or what, but absolutely beautiful. And it's nice to get the breeze after a long day, a couple of days of work and travel.
Yeah, maybe that glacier off in the distance that you were talking about. My wife had gone in 2016 when she was in college still, and she said it was absolutely gorgeous. So I'm glad you're in a really nice setting. Tell the folks back home a little bit about what's been happening there in terms of the official business for the city of Lowell, for those who were not fortunate enough to watch any of yesterday's developments. And by the way, Lowell Telemedia has it all up in its entirety now, so they can hear all the discussion and everything going on. From what I gathered, it went into a lot of detail. Really maybe the first time we've seen this much detail of exactly what this partnership, what this Frontrunner City designation means for Lowell going forward. Recap it, if you would, in your own words and your own thoughts, Counselor.
Absolutely. It's I went on this trip with an open mind. I wasn't fully, because I didn't attend Toronto, so I myself didn't fully understand what this meant. After yesterday and today, I'm fully aware. Above and beyond just the potential opportunity for low interest loan investment, injection of finances, it also establishes a network of resources that the city administration and the city employees are going to be able to access. So whether it's, I had a long conversation with a woman that's a planner and developer, and not just any planner or developer, but she runs an organization that oversees planning and development in low-income, troubled areas. She's worked in Sarajevo, she's worked in Vietnam, she's worked globally with urban revitalization and plan and design. And part of this is all the concepts that were discussed during these past 2 days, as far as sustainable initiatives being baked into these development projects, the planning and design phases. That's where this all ties in. So we have a broad network now that we can access with sustainable ideas. What's working in other places similar to, not just necessarily in the States now, Canada, you name it, France, all over, worldwide. And in that way, Switzerland in particular, they're very cutting edge with sustainable ideas and climate friendly initiatives. Some of the stuff that we've been hearing from groups in the city that they've been advocating for, I think this kind of grabs what they've been advocating for and kind of allows us to find a realistic path and make incremental steps towards those objectives. I also think this group with UEF has had success in Toronto with similar projects as what we're trying to do in the pipeline in Lowell. They are huge on increasing housing inventory of all types, and they are huge on ensuring that everybody that's a member of the community is accounted for and listened to and has input on all of this work that's going to be coming down the pipeline. So it's pretty much everything you've seen the community advocating for, the administration advocating for, tied into a ball, but now we have additional consultants and a broader network of people that specialize in each individual area that can kind of help guide us with all of these investments and design programs that we have coming.
You know, it was interesting. There was a portion I was watching yesterday where one of the speakers said these things don't happen by accident, and he was talking about Lowell putting itself in position to become a front-runner city, not going the way of many old cities who were once on top of the world, and then when their day came and went, they went and never came back. He talked about Lowell putting itself in position. How much of what being a front-runner city entails has the city already been doing? And I don't just mean this current council, this current administration, but previous councils that you've served on, previous councils that other people served on. How much of that framework is already in place? How much does the city still need to do to get to the level where we'll see these investments that are being promised?
So I'd say a fair amount, a good portion of the framework, initial framework, has been in place. And I wouldn't even point to one or two specific things as much as the frame of mind. I think the city of Lowell has been moving towards a lot of these kind of basic requirements to even be considered into this kind of agreement as the Frontrunner City. So when we start looking at creating housing with affordable factors in mind and like acre crossing and all these things that we're starting to see that are coming to fruition slowly in the city currently, those didn't just happen overnight. So that's why I point my finger backwards at people before me had the wisdom and initiative and took the lead on doing a lot of this work. And I think this is a continuation of stuff that's been started. Yes, I agree. I think that was a very key component that came up during the discussion yesterday, especially where Lowell came to a crossroad at one point. Whether it was the 80s, say, when we were having mill fires of all the abandoned buildings, we could have easily just turned around and laid down and became whatever someone else wanted us to be. I think you're seeing that even now with a lot of the production plans that are being pushed on a state level. They would love for Lowell to roll over and just sign off on whatever the initiatives originate with the governor. I don't agree. I think Lowell has put in too much work, has invested too much money, and we have too many residents and families that are way too invested emotionally with their families. To just take that. I think we need to stand strong, carve out our own identity, and work with different networks to accomplish where we all want to go. So it is key. I think that's the only way, and I discussed that briefly yesterday. I think this kind of designation and working with this kind of network allows the city of Lowell a special kind of freedom to be able to stand up and identify ourselves. Say this is who Lowell is and this is where we're going. And lean in on these channels and these networks with already the existing networks and channels like the university and Middlesex Community College and all the nonprofits and every sector that's been working day and night to try to improve Lowell. Well, we have better allies or additional allies, I should say now.
So you mentioned that you hadn't gone to the Toronto trip last December or late November. I forget exactly when it was, but that this kind of drove the point home to you about the Frontrunner City initiative's potential. There's still some folks who are naysayers. You still hear it a lot. I'm sure you heard it before you headed over to Europe. I'll believe it when I see it, or these are just empty promises. But we're talking years off before we start to see any movement. From your understanding of what you discussed yesterday in that boardroom, what went on today, how soon is the city of Lowell going to start to see the investment that we're talking about, or at least the initial investment, and dare I say even the unveiling of the first project or projects? What are we talking about? Years, 3 to 5 years? Are we talking about within the next year we should have an unveiling of some type of development or some kind of project? What's your understanding, Counselor?
My understanding is, again, first I'd like to say the people that are skeptical, stay skeptical. I think that's natural. That's I myself have been skeptical, and I do think that's healthy. I think you have to stay skeptical. Don't just take our word that this is the greatest thing since sliced bread. Challenge it. And from what my understanding is, I think people are going to be pleasantly surprised in a short amount of time. I don't think it's going to take 5 years to see a shovel break ground on some of these pipeline projects that the city's been discussing. I think once this really goes, it's going to go at a pretty quick speed, because that's what a big portion of this was. Again, if we are reaching out and we're looking to connect a network with a global organization that has access to resources that we might be lacking, that's a big reason that they wanted to see that they actually have buy-in from not only this administration, but this council. We're representing the people of the city of Lowell. And so for us not to show up in person, that kind of sends a message to these people that, hey, we're looking for your resources, but we're not willing to kind of commit and meet in person on your terms. So I don't know what kind of relationship begins that way, but I don't think it's good. I think one of the valuable things about us attending this trip was being able to person-to-person network and have real conversations with these are the leaders in specific areas, whether you're talking climate, whether you're talking sustainable ideas, whether you're talking improving walkability and biking. I've never seen a place in my life that has more mopeds and pedal bikes. I mean, to the point where they have to build dual sidewalks along this lake that we're at right now because two of the lanes on the sidewalks are opposite direction bike lanes, and then it's divided with a small like cafeteria, bathhouse type stuff that you would get towels or chairs at. And on the other side of that is the pedestrian lanes. Like they have built this city out to accommodate small vehicles and bicycles and mopeds. I'd say 75% of the people that you see commuting around are on bicycles and mopeds, and it's just the way of life. You see people like on bikes and mopeds with attached wagon that their dog will be hanging in. And the dog looks comfortable. It's part of their daily life. It's just they have changed the way they do things significantly in a community like this. And there's so much to take back. But as far as timeline on projects, I think the mayor will be able to speak to that better tomorrow. But do not be surprised if you, within the next, say, 6 months, you see something in the pipeline starting to break ground. Because I know a lot of the people that we've had conversations the past 2 days with, they're eager to go. They're ready to go. And that's why they came, they actually wanted us here to announce this, because now one of the gentlemen spoke last night, and he explained how we can stop saying the ing. We're willing, we're looking. He said, it's past that now. That's why we're here. Now we're going to start doing. There's no more hopefulness. It's go time now. And so I'll believe it like the people back home when I see it, but I really do support this endeavor, and I really do have confidence that we are going to see some significant benefits as a result of all the work and legwork that's been put in to get us to this point.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, you're referring to the gentleman from Canada, Mark Keeley, who kind of said, hey, enough talking about theories and conceptualizing. We're at the point where we're going to start doing. I believe that's who you were referencing. But I'm also glad you talked about the buy-in, because I know there are 7 of the counselors there and a handful of people from the manager's administration. If you add in the Toronto delegation, I believe that they've met 9 of the 11 of you now on the foreign trips. They've met the others here in Lowell as well when they came to the city council. But if that doesn't show a buy-in from this entire elected body and appointed body at City Hall, I'm not sure what else will. Anything on the agenda for tomorrow, or has most of the work been done and is breaking up now?
No, we finally wrapped up. Today was the last day, and the majority of us are flying back. So right now it is, what is it? Almost 4:45, 4:37 p.m. over here. Most of us are flying out at 1:05 p.m. tomorrow. So if the work is done, now we begin a 10 to 12 hour travel day tomorrow to get back home. And and that was the gentleman I was referring to that did mention that, and not just the buy-in from the people they met. It's also when they visited us at Lowell, they got to meet a lot of our community partners, a lot of the nonprofit sector, a lot of the developers, a lot of the educational community. They actually even got to tour, I believe, the vocational school to see what that model looks like. So, yes, I think they're comfortable and fully understand that they have buy-in from our community, but I really feel that we have buy-in from their community as well now, and I think it's the beginning of a great partnership.
Awesome. Looking forward to what the future brings, and I'm excited about that 6-month figure you threw out there. I won't hold you to it, but we'll probably hold the manager and the mayor hold to it, though, okay?
Please do. And again, I'd love to get back to, like you said, people should be skeptical, because we have all been told miraculous things are coming in the past, and it hasn't come to fruition, so hold us accountable also. And until that shovel breaks ground, I anticipate you're going to get a lot of people still questioning it, and rightfully so.
All right. Councillor Corey Robinson, thank you for joining us. Enjoy what's left of your trip. It looks like you're ready for a little bit of leisure out there. Keep that ''Dakota character out of trouble, if you would.
Johnny's with us. I'll tell you, when we were sitting here, I don't think he's ever looked at his health app before. But just going back and forth from our hotel to the UN. I mean, I think I had 24,000 steps yesterday, and I think he's around 14,000 steps himself. So it's believe me, it's a city that's made for walkability. And I'll tell you one thing: they have one of the best free public transportation systems, infrastructure setups that I've ever seen. They have trams that are free. They have buses that are free. They have bikes. I mean, you can rent. Not like the VO. And that's one thing I found interesting. I haven't found any VO rides in the lake yet, but I'll keep looking.
If you see one, please send me the photo. But yeah, that public transit. If we could reinvent or rebirth that trolley idea from the Gallagher terminal, and what I saw is a nice artist rendering of a building there coming into the downtown and UMass Lowell and Lincoln, I think that would completely transform the city if just those two components were done.
Teddy, I'll tell you, one thing that's encouraging here is the streets are very narrow, and they have, like I said, people tend to buy smaller cars. You see a lot more European models, which are very small, but the tram system runs right down the middle, and it's basically just two, like, flush with the ground, level with the ground railroad tracks, and the electricity that powers it is up above. I mean, even the streetlights are pretty much powered, and there's no structure that goes on the sidewalks. I'll try to take a couple pictures, but they're basically held up by cables. So, I mean, to see them roll out a robust tram system where the electricity above powers it on narrow roadways, yeah, I wouldn't say nothing is impossible. I think it just takes some ingenuity.
All right, Councilor Corey Robinson, thanks so much for taking some time off to join us today. Safe travels back, sir.
Thank you very much, and I'll see you guys when I get back.
All right, that is Lowell City Councilor Corey Robinson joining us here on the Daily Pulse, kicking off this Tuesday, August 26th edition of the Pulse. You heard it from a guy who, he was skeptical, as we all should be, but seeing what he's seen, hearing what he's heard, I don't see how this isn't a benefit to our city, our community. Even if, a quarter of what's being discussed comes true, I think it's all good stuff. Looking forward to more about this trip and hearing from Mayor Danny Rourke tomorrow. He's going to join us on the Daily Pulse with former Mayor Bill Samaras, give us some more details. Reminder, you're tuned into the Daily Pulse, the show that keeps its finger on the pulse of Lowell and the world around it. And as you just saw, sometimes we visit the world around it because Lowell's a big part of it. Again, let me thank my Daily Pulse sponsors. I was remiss in not thanking them earlier, but I wanted to get right out to Councilor Robinson in Geneva. Thank you, of course, to our two main Daily Pulse sponsors, Ray Booten, licensed realtor in Massachusetts and New Hampshire, certified appraiser in both states as well. So if you're looking to buy or sell a home, a business, or a commercial property, you need to get in touch with Ray Booten today. realestaterayBooten.com is the web address, realestaterayBooten.com. He's got a really well-valued renovation project in Lowell's Pawtucketville neighborhood. We just posted it on the Inside Lowell Facebook page. Go check it out. Thank you as well to our friends at WellPoint for hosting us here in the WellPoint studios. It's the only health plan that offers health care benefits exclusively to Massachusetts GIC members at WellPoint. Your whole health is their whole point. Thanks as well to Washington Savings Bank, banking that feels like home. Make the switch now to Washington Savings Bank. TMI Properties, quality and value at every price point. Find your perfect space with TMI. Mahoney Oil, providing warmth and protection. Greater Lowell, Southern New Hampshire families since 1925. The Greater Lowell Community Foundation, improving the quality of life through strategic, impactful philanthropy. Francis E. Preventure Insurance, the agency Greater Lowell is counted on since 1982 to insure our most valuable assets, and by the Massachusetts Pirates, bringing all the hard-hitting action and excitement of arena football to the Mill City. Thank you to all of our Daily Pulse sponsors and all of our Inside Lowell sponsors for that matter. Glad to have all of you be a part of the Inside Lowell family. Want to wrap up this podcast with two interesting little things, because I am, of course, here in the studio alone now that Councilor Robinson has left us on the Zoom line. I'm here alone, which means I got to do a little bit of triggering for you. And I just kind of have to show you this picture because to my Democratic friends out there, my Democratic Party friends out there, and I know some of you are skeptical if you've heard me talk here on Inside Lowell or in my 15 years of doing radio or out in the real world. You realize I'm not a big fan, have not been a big fan of the Democratic Party, in particular, the Democratic Party here in Massachusetts and in the direction it's heading. That's not to say I don't have friends who are Democrats. That's not to say there are some Democrats that I really like, and I like their politics. But I feel the party is sliding away from what the Democratic Party meant, the Democratic Party of John F. Kennedy and centrist Democrats, rational Democrats, and has gone into complete lunacy. And one of those things was on display late last week in Virginia during a protest. They've got a very contentious gubernatorial election going on in Virginia, and there was some school board meeting and whatnot, and a bunch of protesters showed up, all upset because Virginia there's a political movement to try to define a man as a man and a woman as a woman, in particular when it comes to high school sports. Boys, girls, locker rooms, sports, bathrooms, etc. Well, as part of the protests, a bunch of Democrats kind of lost their minds. They were really obnoxious. And one woman, I don't know if she's just insane and doesn't realize the insanity of what she did, or if she's just stupid and isn't smart enough to know, and instead is being led through the nose by a bunch of people that are completely either clueless or evil in trying to kind of, well, dare I say, divide and destroy this country. What am I talking about? Here's the sign. This woman proudly holding up at one of these protests last week in Virginia. Hey, Winsome, the Republican gubernatorial candidate, I believe. If trans can't share your bathroom, then blacks can't share my water fountain. Let me read that again. Your eyes can see it, but you know I'm not making this up. This is not photoshopped. There are actually videos of somebody going over, a gentleman going over and trying to talk some sense into this woman and say, do you realize how damaging to the cause this sign is? And the woman appeared really clueless. But again, hey, Winsome, if trans can't share your bathroom, then blacks can't share my water fountain. Democrats embracing their party roots, as I like to remind people, because somehow over the last several decades, Democrats have managed to make people forget that they were the party of slavery. They were the party of Jim Crow. For a while, they fought that image and changed it, and rightfully so. John F. Kennedy, Robert F. Kennedy, that administration, the civil rights movement getting behind it. They were on the right side of civil rights. They were on the right side of history. But somewhere along the way, they lost their way. And other people replaced African Americans, those who were enslaved in America, and those who couldn't drink out of the same water fountain as whites, which this woman is, by the way. And also look around her. Do you see a lot of black people out there? Do you see any Hispanic, Asian-looking people out there? No, I see a lot of white people out there. I'll give you a different camera angle of this woman and her crew. There she is. There's the woman. Look around you. Look at all the old white people and younger white people as well. But this is the modern Democratic activist, the modern Democratic base. But to them, a gender-neutral bathroom, or a bathroom that allows men to go into a women's room and women to go into a men's room, also a locker room, school, boys to go into girls' locker rooms and play in girls' sports, and girls to go into boys' locker rooms, and if they can, play boys' sports. To this woman, that is the equivalent of Jim Crow and slavery. She thinks she's fighting the same battle. She's lost her mind. She's lost her way. she's incredibly stupid of history. She thinks she knows her history, but in reality, she knows absolutely nothing about it. Otherwise, she wouldn't put a sign like that. What was she thinking making this sign? What was she thinking carrying this sign if she didn't make it and somebody else made it for her? So to my Democratic friends, these people I see and I talk to and I genuinely like and adore, do you understand how lost you guys are? Or your party is? And if you're not standing up to this in your party, you know, we heard Greg Pappas talk a little bit about it yesterday on the Daily Pulse, but if you're not standing up to this lunacy in your party, if you're letting these people hijack your party, you are lost. You're gone. You no longer have a Democratic Party. You might as well have a Marxist, socialist, authoritarian party, because this is where you're going. This is your party's base now. This is really, I don't even call it the base. It's become the center of your party. This is what people are afraid to speak out to. And if they hint about speaking out about it, as Congressman Seth Moulton did, they slap them right back into obedience quickly. You've lost your way. You've lost your party. New York Times just published a story. Republicans have seen a net gain of 4.5 million. Let me repeat that number. 4.5 million registered voters over Democrats in between 2020 and 2024. Democrats have lost 2.4 million voters. They've left. Republicans have gained 2.1 million registered voters across the country. It's a New York Times article. Google search it. Look it up. It's a warning sign to Democrats. You've lost your way. You're so insane with some of these policies, this one in particular, that you've gone back to your Jim Crow days in your thinking, but you've also lost a part. You can't win elections like this. You've lost 2.4 million registered voters. They've either gone to unenrolled or they've outright gone to the Republicans, because the Republicans have picked up 2.1 million. Either way, that's a 4.5 million person swing in voters across the country. You're never going to win another swing state again. You're going to create new swing states, New Mexico and Minnesota and maybe New Jersey. You know, California, Massachusetts, New York are probably safe for you guys, but you can't win elections this way. You can't win congressional control this way. You've lost your minds. Get a grip on it. Start to speak out against it. Don't let this woman speak for you. Don't let the people around this woman speak for you. Because as much as I love to dump on you, I think you need a strong Democratic Party to counter the Republican Party. And yes, to some degree, the MAGA movement, which I like. But if you don't have checks and balances in government, you're gone. You lose your city, you lose your state, and you lose your country. Thankfully, there's enough sane-minded Americans that we didn't lose the country, and the pendulum is swinging back a little bit away from this lunatic and back towards a little bit of reality. But I am worried about Massachusetts, which brings me to my final discussion on today's Daily Pulse. As you know, I was away, took off 8 Daily Pulses myself personally, and thank you to Danielle McFadden for filling in on 3 of them. But I took off a bunch of days, went on vacation with the family. We spent about 6 days down at Cape Cod. We were in a Yarmouth, great fun resort with the kids. We had a blast, came back, grabbed my new car, and then we headed up to Salisbury, where we stayed for 3 nights up at Salisbury Beach and had some fun. And naturally, if you're at Salisbury Beach or anywhere near that area, you have to go to Newburyport, of course, but you also have to head into Seabrook and, yes, Hampton. My kids love to go into Hampton and play at the arcades and the park there along Hampton Beach, and we had a blast. So driving over there, I noticed a lot of construction near that famed Hampton-Seabrook Bridge, the bridge you take to get from Seabrook to Hampton and vice versa. The one with the drawbridge that sometimes if you get stuck there because a boat has to go underneath it, you're cursing your life because you have to sit there and wait for a boat to go through, and you're wondering why the bleep didn't they just build a tall enough bridge back in, I think, 1939 or whatever it was to not have to deal with this. But hey, it was a long time ago. But there was a whole bunch of construction out there. And you know what they're building? Let's get away from this lunatic and let us show you the new scenery up there. Hampton and Seabrook. There you see on the left, the existing bridge, the drawbridge part of it. There you see on the right, the new Hampton-Seabrook Bridge that connects the two communities. At first, my wife and I, we weren't sure, like, what are they doing over here? And I guess, I said, I think they're building a new bridge. So I Google searched once we got back to the condo that we were staying at, and sure enough, yeah, I found a whole bunch of documents in here. The New Hampshire 1A over Hampton River Bridge replacement. And title page of it here, you can download it yourself. Starts with Seabrook, New Hampshire. It's got on there, but it gives you the price tag. $107.559, So let's call it $107.5 million for this new bridge. Well, I started thinking, I'm like, 107 million. As I've driven over this span many times, I'm thinking to myself, it seems like it's the same length, if not longer, than the Rourke Bridge. And as we know here in Lowell, before I went away, I was at the groundbreaking ceremony, the official groundbreaking ceremony for the new Rourke Bridge, the new $303 million Rourke Bridge in Lowell, Massachusetts. And I started to compare it in my mind to the $107 million bridge. I know it's a $107.5 million bridge in Seabrook and Hampton, New Hampshire. I thought to myself, well, driving over it, it feels the same. Eyeballing it, it feels the same. As a matter of fact, if I would have had to guess, I'd have told you that the Hampton-Seabrook Bridge is longer than the Rourke Bridge, or at least the existing Rourke Bridge. So sure enough, in this project, as I started Google searching, the existing Hampton-Seabrook Bridge, constructed in 1949, is 1,193 feet between abutments. We'll call it 1,200 feet between abutments. The new bridge will have a length of 1,300 feet between abutments. So 1,300 feet. So it's going to be a little bit longer. Why? Because they're going to build it up. It is going to eliminate the drawbridge and have a 48-foot clearance at its higher point from the lowest level of steel to the water. 48 feet, allowing boats and some yachts and whatever to come through there without having to stop traffic to open and close the drawbridge. So 1,300 feet, $107.5 million to construct this new bridge. Now, I'm pretty sure the Rourke Bridge is not going to be 48 feet high, the new one, when they build it. How long is the existing Rourke Bridge? Well, it's hard to find this data. So I've asked the Massachusetts Department of Transportation. I'm still waiting for my response. I've asked one of our state representatives, Rodney Elliott, for that information as well. Not only how much is the existing Rourke Bridge, but how big will the new Rourke Bridge be? Now, I did find a Google AI search that said the existing Rourke Bridge is 1,250 feet approximately, give or take, which jibes with what I thought. It's about the same length as the Hampton-Seabrook Bridge. 1,250, 1,300. It's basically the same length from Seabrook to Hampton, Hampton to Seabrook, as it is on the Rourke Bridge from Pawtucketville to the Highlands, Highlands to Pawtucketville. Same length. One project is $303 million and counting. Don't hold your breath on that $303 million being the final figure. The other one is $107.5 million. Now, I do understand that the new design of the Rourke Bridge isn't going straight across or going to be the same length as this one. It actually is going across the river a little bit diagonally. It's also got a little bit of a bend to it so that it meets up with Wood Street from the Ferry Street side, Pawtucketville, Ferry Street, Wood Street, on the Highland side. But they're not doing a straight diagonal. They're doing a little bit of a bend. That adds cost. That adds distance. So I'm assuming you're looking at a bigger bridge than the 1,250 feet you have now. You're looking at a bigger bridge than the 1,300 feet that the Hampton Bridge is going to be. I don't think it's going to be 48 foot high at its apex. So, you know, you don't have to worry about that component, but it's going to be a bigger bridge. So it should be a little bit more expensive. Almost 3 times as much? Is it going to be 3 times as long? Remember, they're building a 1,300-foot bridge for $107 million. We're building a bridge, I don't know, 1,500, 1,800, 2,000, call it, feet long. Let's say it's double the size of what the current bridge is. Let's say it's 2,600 feet or 2,500 feet. Okay, well, the cost should be twice of what the Hampton Bridge is at $107.5 million. But it's not. It's 3 times as much. Now, if you want to be tempted to say to me, well, the Rourke Bridge is going to feature those beautiful bike lanes and pedestrian lanes. No. So too is the Hampton-Seabrook Bridge. It will be 38 feet between curbs. It'll have 2 11-foot travel lanes and 8-foot shoulders. It will have bikes, walkways, the ability to allow emergency vehicles to get through traffic areas instead of being stuck on the bridge. It's going to have all the bells and whistles of a modern bridge. It's not going to have, as you can see, the design. It's pretty much straight across the bay. I believe that's the Hampton River, by the way, that spills out into Seabrook/Hampton Beach. But it's not going to have that little bend that you see here at the end of the Rourke Bridge, the new Rourke Bridge. It's also not going to have, to my knowledge, maybe it will when all is said and done, because I wasn't able to find a photo of the completed project, but it's not going to have those stupid bump outs, which add money to the construction costs. All 3 of them. Like you couldn't have just one or one on each side. You needed 3 of them. But this bridge in Lowell that you're looking at on your screen right now is going to cost you $303 plus, bet on the plus, $1 million. $303 million. This bridge that they already have under construction in Hampton that you're looking at on your screen right now is going to cost taxpayers $107.5 million. 303, 107.5 for a body of water crossing that is pretty much equal in length. The bridges won't be equal in length because, of course, here in Massachusetts, we got to do that little bend and we got to do all the little jut outs. But this bridge is costing taxpayers in Lowell, in Massachusetts, and across the United States of America 3 times as much as the bridge in Hampton. And Seabrook is costing taxpayers of New Hampshire, of the United States of America, and of those 2 communities. I'm going to try to get the exact length on the new bridge and some other specs on it. And I'll be writing a follow-up column on InsideLowell.com once I have that info, if I get that info. But ask yourself, Massachusetts, why is it costing you 3 times as much to get your new bridge than it's costing the people in New Hampshire? And by the way, taxpayers of the United States of America, because the Rourke Bridge in Lowell is being funded by $250 million plus federal dollars. The Hampton Bridge, I don't know how many federal dollars that's being funded by, but I would imagine they got some of that as part of the same, transportation infrastructure bill that they crow about here in Massachusetts. But New Hampshire taxpayers are getting a lot more bang for their buck, aren't they? They're getting a lot fewer bucks that they have to chip in than Massachusetts has to chip in. Shouldn't that bother us? Shouldn't that bother us as Lowellians, as Massachusetts residents, as United States citizens, that one state can so inflate the cost of construction that a bridge that just a handful of years ago was $60 to $100 million? I mean, remember they told us the new Rourke Bridge, when they started talking about this, was going to be $60 to $100 million? And now it's 300 plus. There's something wrong there, folks. We're doing something wrong. Now, if you want to spend if some private entity was building this bridge, knock yourselves out. Put all the bells and whistles you want. Have a tram going across it. Have an escalator, a walkway, a moving walkway, whatever you want, if it's private dollars. But these are taxpayer dollars. These are taxpayer dollars. And there is no reason, no good reason on God's green earth that a bridge over the same span of water, same body length, I should say, costs 3 times as much in Massachusetts as it does in New Hampshire. And why that should worry you even more is because it's not just the Rourke Bridge. It's every other bridge. As I went to the Cape, I drove over the Sagamore Bridge. The previous time I went to the Cape, I went over the Bourne Bridge. Those two are being replaced at a cost of $2.something billion. And I started wondering, what would identical bridges like that cost to build in New Hampshire or some other state that hasn't lost its mind? Those of you who want affordable housing in Massachusetts, keep talking about affordable housing. I hear that over and over again, affordable housing. And I keep telling you, you can't build affordable housing in Massachusetts. Land is too expensive. The cost to build is too expensive. So nobody's going to build housing that they cannot charge a rent that will make back their money for them plus a profit. As every investor, everybody who invests money wants a profit. There's nothing wrong with that. They should be able to get a reasonable profit. The cost to build, the cost of land, and all the regulations and crap that go into it, the stuff that makes them bend the Rourke Bridge as opposed to going straight across the river like they did in 1983. All those things cost money. So those same things cost money when you build a housing complex, when you try to build housing for poor, for rich, for working class, market rate, whatever you want to call it. It is a lot more expensive to build in Massachusetts. Hence, you will never have affordable housing. You'll have subsidized housing, but somebody's paying. Make no mistake, somebody's paying for that subsidized housing. Who that somebody is? You, the taxpayer. You're subsidizing it. Whether it comes from the federal government, the state government, or to some degree from your city and town hall. Subsidized housing is paid for housing. Taxpayer dollars paying for housing. And in Massachusetts, your construction costs, your cost of doing construction, your cost of doing business in Massachusetts is so far above your surrounding states and most of the United States of America, you're never going to get your affordable housing. And that's why New Hampshire's getting a $107.5 million bridge. And oops, wrong person. We went back to that crazy lady. And Lowell/Massachusetts is getting a $303 million bridge. It's simple math. It's simple economics. A bridge going the same length across a body of water should be designed in a way to be with the taxpayers in mind, not with all these other stupid bells and whistles in mind, and not these ridiculous costs. Is it the cost of prevailing wage? Partially, sure, but it's other costs as well. We need to be better than that. We need to be better than that with taxpayer money. And taxpayers, you need to be better about demanding that people be better with your money. That should piss you off as much as it pissed me off when I drove over that bridge last week and realized, damn it, they're building a new one, and I bet it's going to cost a lot less than the one we're building here in Lowell. And I was 100% right. Boy, was I right. $107.5 million versus $300 million. All right, that is today's Daily Pulse. I want to again thank City Councilor Corey Robinson for joining us in Geneva, Switzerland, home of the United Nations European headquarters. Big doings for the city of Lowell. Tomorrow we'll talk more about it with Lowell Mayor Danny Rourke and former Mayor Bill Samaras. Hopefully get some more details, but you heard the optimism from Councilor Robinson, who is a skeptic himself and has been, and as he should be. But even he is optimistic after what he has seen these last 2 days. On Thursday, we will bring you the District 7 Lowell City Council, the Acre candidates will be debating. Incumbent Councilor Paul Ratayem will not be joining us. He's still in Geneva and will not be back in time. So we'll have the two challengers, Sidney Liang and Jose Cervantes, joining us on Friday. We will bring you the District 3 City Council debate. The four candidates, Corey Belanger, Dan Finn, Erin Gendron, Belinda Duran. I try to do them alphabetically, so we're not taking preference. Plus, it makes it easier for me to remember the four names. We're going to record that one Thursday night. We'll bring it to you as Friday's Inside Lowell Daily Pulse. Thank everyone. I want to thank everyone for joining us today again on the Daily Pulse. Thank you to our Daily Pulse sponsors, Real Estate Ray Booten and our friends at WellPoint. Thank you to all our sponsors. Enjoy the rest of your day today. Stay safe, stay cool, and I'll see you on the other side.